Today we're going to be talking about the best VR horror experiences you can experience in VR as of right now. As we are in full-on spooky season, what better time to be talking about all the awesome games that can get your skin crawling and of course, maybe even make you poop your pants. Please do consider smashing that like button, subscribing as always as we're on that road to 100k. And before we dive into the very first game on this list, I want to thank today's channel sponsor, The Exorcist, Legion VR. If you're into horror games that actually get under your skin, well, this one's been called the most terrifying experience in VR. And yeah, they're not exaggerating. It's split into 5 chapters, each one diving deeper into a seriously messed up supernatural stuff. Exorcisms, demonic entities, hidden artifacts, and creepy environments. That's all nightmare fuel. They've also just dropped the new epilogue update too, which extends the story even if you finished all 5 chapters, so there's even more to uncover. Now it's also been fully enhanced for the Quest 3 and Quest 2, so that it runs even better on standalone. It's part action, part mystery, and part solving puzzles, and honestly, all terror. If you're looking for something to test your nerves over this Halloween period, well then look no further, as The Exorcist is definitely going to get under your skin. This is available for the Quest, PSVR 2 and PCVR, so a massive thank you to them for sponsoring today's video. You can find links to this in the description or in the pinned comment. And now let's dive into the rest of this horrifying list. Well, we're starting off strong here with Madison VR. If you want pure psychological torment, well this game is about as close as you're going to get. It's the kind of game that jumps out and scares you every couple of minutes, but it also just gets worse as it's inside your head. You're stuck in this claustrophobic house filled with religious symbols, old photos, and other things that, well, just shouldn't be there. This game gives you a cursed camera that reveals what's hiding in the dark, and every time you take a picture, well, you're gonna live to kind of regret it. The lighting, the whispers, the sense of something right behind you, and it all just works together to completely make you feel powerless, and that's not a great feeling in a horror game. If you want a horror experience that will actually make you want to take your headset off just to breathe, then this is the one. Next up we have the Dark Pictures Switchback VR. Now this didn't have the greatest reception when it first came out, but personally I really enjoyed this. As a big fan of all the Dark Pictures games, this will pay homage to all of those things in my opinion, the best way possible. Imagine you're trapped on a roller coaster from hell. Well, that's basically Switchback VR. It's like a haunted house mixed with an adrenaline ride, where you're going to be flying through scenes from different nightmares, shooting waves of terrifying things that are trying to eat you, and the best part, it knows exactly where you're even looking inside of the game, so it knows exactly how to jump scare you. There are even scenes with like mannequins that only move when you blink. Yep, the headset is tracking that, so you can literally not even trust your own eyes because they are going to lead you into some terrifying things. You literally have to keep your eyes open as long as possible while the world around you is frozen. Stuff like that just really adds to this game. So I gotta say, this one for me, a freaking awesome experience, and I highly recommend it if you're in a PSVR 2. Next up we have Trenches VR. Now this takes horror in a bit of a different direction because you're not just dealing with your normal ghosts. In this one you're going to be actually trapped in a World War I trench. The real horror comes from the setting itself. It's dark, muddy and full of death and sounds that just kind of makes it brutal. Distant screams, footsteps in the muds, whispers. Are they just in your head? Well, I guess you're going to have to play and find out. You get a wooden whistle that lets you hear where you're supposed to go, but it also alerts whatever is hunting you. So that constant gamble of risk, do I blow it, do I don't, will pretty much haunt you throughout this entire game. Next up we have Lies Beneath. Now this is up there in just some of my absolute top experiences in VR, as I think it's probably the best version of a comic book coming to life. The cel shaded art style makes everything just feel so surreal and dreamlike, but don't let that fool you. This is actually a deeply unsettling game in many different ways. You play as a college student returning home from a twisted version of her town, where reality keeps warping around you and the things in the game sort of balances between action and fear. You'll be blasting monsters one minute and creeping through a frozen forest the next, wondering if the shadows up ahead will move or if it's just a stylized shadow. It genuinely is one of the most unique experiences that I think we have in horror right now, and I definitely recommend it to everyone. Next up we have Wilson's Heart. Now this is an oldie but an absolute Goldie. This is a classic black and white 1940s style horror, but in VR. You wake up in a hospital where everything's gone wrong. You literally had your heart stolen. The game feels like an old monster movie but come to life, filled with eerie lighting, strange experiments, and that constant feeling that you're being watched. It's less about the jump scares and more about the absolute tension building that happens throughout this, the dread that builds up, and then of course you then need to explore. It's one of those games that proves to you that you don't need colour or gore to make something terrifying, just atmosphere, mystery, and a constant sense of something is off. Next we have Phasmophobia, and you know this wouldn't be a list without Phasmophobia. It's basically ghost hunting simulator that is turned into one of the most fun and horrifying VR co-op experiences ever. If you and your friends want to get together and go into haunted locations with EMF readers, spirit boxes, then this is going to be the one for you. The magic is the unpredictability. The ghost can hear you talk, it reacts to your voice, and when it decides to hunt you, it's probably too late to scream. That's what makes this so good, is the teamwork and the tension behind this game. You'll be laughing 1 second, and next your buddy's going to be going silent on a radio because they're gone, and possibly a ghost as well. If you haven't tried this in VR, I highly recommend it, as it's an experience that will always stand out to me as probably one of the more scarier things you can do in VR. Next up we have Alien Rogue Incursion. This is one that's, well, probably just pure nightmare fuel for most of us, right? Getting hunted by a xenomorph is never the one that you really want to be living through, and yet it's done incredibly well inside of this game. The scariest part is that it leans into every noise you make and every door you open, and it's tracking you, so the tension just keeps on building throughout the game, as well as many xenomorphs trying to hunt and kill you as you get through this experience. It's not just scripted, this feels like it sort of is happening all the time, so that tension just keeps on building. Plus the lighting, sound design, and a motion tracker beeps getting faster and faster until the thing drops out of the ceiling will definitely keep you on the edge of your seat, except for you're going to be standing up in this one most likely. This is 100% recommend if you're a fan of the Alien franchise, and being able to finally step inside this without modding a game feels bloody amazing. Next up we have Propagation Paradise Hotel. Now this one feels like a crazy horror zombie survival with the atmosphere and everything that just kind of ups the game. You're going to be trapped inside of a hotel during an outbreak trying to find your sister, and it's packed with dark hallways, flickering lights, and banging on the walls. The zombies aren't just a sort of cannon fodder, they're actually really quite aggressive, fast, and they sound bloody awful inside of this game. The game nails that feeling of being trapped somewhere you really shouldn't be, armed with barely enough ammo to make it into the next room, but that's what is the perfect mix between that action and pure panic. Next up we have Memoreum, and this is a bit of a new one, and also a freaking terrifying game in certain points. I feel like this one has a perfect balance between absolutely making you poop your pants, but also giving you just enough, you know, inside of you to be able to carry on playing this game. This one is a bit more of a sci-fi one, where you're going to be going out on a ship, and you're going to have to be sort of like taking out some of these dread ass monsters, and sometimes they'll even evolve further after you kill them, so keep your eyes peeled, as it can get quite intense as the sort of tension builds in this game as you go through it. Really solid experience, and one I highly recommend if you're into that sort of sci-fi horror. Next we have Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted. Finally, this is obviously the legend of horror at this point. Everyone knows what Five Nights at Freddy is. It doesn't matter how many horror games you've played, nothing quite prepares you for having to be jump scared by Freddy Fazbear and his crew multiple times, especially when you're inside of VR and you are trapped in the security booth or juggling switches, lights, animations, slow things creeping towards you. Whew, it's all got it, it's all there, and finally it's all in VR as well, making it feel just even more intense. The Five Nights at Freddy games are just such an incredible thing to get inside of VR because, well, they just up the ante by 10,000%. Now, we've covered the main games I wanted to talk about on this list, but of course we couldn't leave off without talking about a few of the ultimate games that you can play in both VR that also have that element of horror about them as well. Kicking things off, of course, we have The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 1 and 2. These are just solid games. They are really well story-driven games which you feel like you're making an impact on the world around you, and your choices will make a difference throughout your experience. Not just that, but you get to explore a ton of different places which give you that feeling of open world, even though they're not that massive of maps, but still they feel quite open and they feel very exploratory because you have many different paths that you can go down to get to the same sort of areas. all in all, this is just one of those most top-notch zombie experiences you could possibly have, dropping you inside of the world of The Walking Dead without having to be reliant on any character from the TV show, which makes this feel just independent, fresh, and honestly pretty timeless at this point as well. And last but not least on this list, I just simply couldn't make this list without adding this, of course we have Resident Evil. Now with Resident Evil we have 3 different ports I want to be talking about. The first one is Resident Evil 4 for the Quest. Now of course this is the lowest graphical one out of the ones I'm going to be recommending, but nonetheless if you have a Quest and this is your only mode of playing a Resident Evil game in VR, this is still an absolute top-notch experience. Now of course graphically it still looks like a Quest 2 game. Unfortunately they've never brought out a Quest 3 patch, which I think would have been phenomenal for this, but nonetheless it's just an incredible experience. Moving on from that, we have Resident Evil 4 Remake for the PSVR 2, and this is fully jazzed up. I'm talking AAA, gorgeous graphics, the best you're pretty much going to experience for a Resident Evil game inside of virtual reality on the PSVR 2. Absolutely gorgeous game, and it just takes it up to that next notch. If you can play this on a PlayStation, then swerve obviously the Quest version and go fully for this, because oh my god, it's stunning inside of the headset. And finally we have Resident Evil Village, that's also available for the PSVR 2. That's why this one's a trio, because really all 3 of these games need to be on this list. I already struggled enough squeezing things down to be able to be the list size that it is, but this, it just, yeah, definitely needs to be on there as well. And there you have it guys, there's a bunch of horror games that are going to make you crap your pants. If you enjoyed this, then please do consider smashing that like button and subscribing and all that good stuff. And of course, if you think I'm missing anything off the list, well, let me know in the comments down below, share your wealth of knowledge, and let other people know about all the other horror games that they can go and play as of right now in VR. Other than that, take care, have an awesome Halloween, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace out, bye!